Guys, welcome back. I'm with a blockchain company, and it's much more interesting than crypto. I can promise you that. I've got the founder of Intain with me, Siddhartha. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Vishal.
Guys, I don't know how old you millennials are, but in 2008 we had a very big crisis which hit the entire world. I didn't get my salary hike at that point of time, and it was very tough to set up anything. But your company was born out of the crisis of 2008. At least the premise was that, right?
Absolutely.
So let's take a step back. What happened in 2008? And there's a word called securitization, which Siddharth will explain to us. Siddharth, please tell us, before we get into Intain, explain to our young audience what securitization is, what happened in 2008, and why your blockchain company was born.
Okay. So what happened in 2008 was there are lots of loans given to people who found it difficult to pay. Will not go into too much details on that. Which got banks involved, or the people who are giving loans. Now these banks will package these loans together and sell it to investors,
Yes.
which is the process of securitization. The investors would create derivatives out of it, and hence those infamous abbreviations or acronyms, CDOs, CDSs, etc.
Yes.
And will sell it in the market, with which even insurance companies get involved. So once people stopped paying loans or were unable to pay loans, then the banks went down, the investors went down, and the insurance companies went down. So
Brilliantly said.
like
It's all-
the biggest crisis
It's how the entire dominoes fell down.
fell down. Yeah.
Right? And that happened because there was no transparency at the time. Nobody knew. Between the three parties, the lenders, the investors that securitize the product, or the bank securitize the product, and the investors, were not talking to each other at that point. It was all one-on-one, right?
Yeah, it's complete lack of transparency. So what you're doing is that means finally at the end, anybody who's trading in a derivative has forgotten that finally it is about price of somebody's house in Florida, right?
And
That
then
it is-
paying back that
and
loan.
then paying back that loan, and it means both are linked, because if he cannot pay back that loan, then the bank can seize the property. But if the property price has fallen down, then bank can get nothing out of seizing the property as well.
It
So
has to
just-
write off its balance sheet completely,
Balance sheets,
right?
and then,
So
yeah.
that's, to cut a long story short, the recession destroyed a lot of well-known names, well-known businesses. There's good literature on that. So you were working in a couple of tech companies, and then this idea came about, and you raised money at paper stage itself, right?
That's right, yeah.
And you set up this company a couple of years ago.
Yeah. So I've been in financial services operations. I ran a joint venture with one of the largest custodians in the world. And we could see that after 2008, all the regulators were just doubling down on you to prevent recurrence of the crisis, which is understandable. And because I was associated with a tech company, had large AI teams reporting into me, the question I needed to answer is that other than this heavy-handed manner, could you combine tech, if you are a fintech, to solve the 2008 financial crisis, or at least mitigate the impact?
Yes.
And that's when we embarked upon putting AI and blockchain together to see if we could solve the securitization problem, which is one of the three kind of contributing pieces to the 2008 financial
Yes, which is the second one, that the banks securitize it and then give it to investors.
Yeah.
That part.
So
Okay.
from lending, securitization, trading, we pick the middle part.
Okay. And what does the company do?
What the company has built is an enterprise platform where all these stakeholders that I talked about in the securitization cycle, so the lender, the issuer or the trustee who kind of packages that, sells that instrument, the investor, and potentially even the rating agency and the regulator can all come on a single platform. And then the whole transaction is happening with complete trust. Everybody has view into the same information in real time. And even if things go wrong, it won't happen that the Florida real estate prices fall in Feb, March, and the investor in September still thinks that he's doing great.
He's doing great. So they absolutely understand that when the markets can collapse, so they can actually pull back that securitized product.
And through smart contracts, trigger clauses. So for example, I can put a clause that if the bad assets fall or go above 5%, then an additional collateral needs to be brought. Now, because all the asset data is on the blockchain, it can auto trigger bringing in the additional collateral. So there is no negotiation, no reconciliation, nothing.
So it's fantastic. So if the NPAs go up, the investor can then tell the bank that where is the additional security provided.
You don't even need to tell. Okay. You can program that in a smart contract that the additional security will have to be automatically brought onto.
So that mitigates all the risks, right?
Substantially, I hope, yeah.
And tell me, in India, what is the situation? In India, securitization does happen. Although
a small market, but just completely going through the roof because of the capital crunch and the liquidity crisis for NBFCs, and RBI has been very cognizant of it. Just last week, RBI has set up 2 very high-powered committees, one for secondary market and corporate loans, the other for securitization of home loans. So RBI realizes that, and means our kind of solution really just plugs into that. If I was to write my preamble for the company, I can extract from the RBI press release. So,
And you were saying the ideal state for you at this point of time is to have many more players come and participate in your platform. You're saying that it can be a marketplace. The eventual goal is that?
Any blockchains, I think the eventual goal should be to be a many-to-many platform, or in the worst case, at least a one-to-many platform where the one is a very powerful entity. It's like Walmart asking all its vendors to come onto a blockchain. So if that one is so powerful, then it can be one-to-many, but otherwise many-to-many.
So, a lot of people ask me, okay, blockchain is something. How is AI involved? You want to explain that to them?
So 2 things. When we started with securitization, one question which was asked us and asked of many blockchains is that you are as good as the data that is coming onto your blockchain.
Correct.
And hence we developed an AI engine to do an automated due diligence. That our engine reads every single loan contract, extracts data, matches it to the data that has been offered, and only validated information comes, which anyway happens in offline process manually, but based on sample. So if we are securitizing 10,000 loans, maybe I'll do a 200 loan due. I can do 100%. Second part is once all the data is there on the blockchain, our AI engine is forecasting the quality. So you may have rated, a rating agency may have rated the pool AAA, but ILFS was also rated AAA. Right?
Yes, correct.
So how do you respond to changing quality? That if many people have not repaid the EMIs last week, will my rating get updated? Officially, no. But we continuously run our AI engine on top to give a forecast, which is like a mini rating in a way. So you have a ticker.
So, for this, you need open APIs, the banks, so that if they plug into your platform, will they be sending in information of the loans collected, closed, loans not paid?
So to be on our platform, you have to allow access to data. Ideal thing would be that we have direct access to the source data. As of now, there are people who are uncomfortable. So we have worked around with an intermediate database where the servicer of the loan pushes it into that intermediate database. We pick. In US, the servicers are different entities. In India, the banks themselves are servicers.
And you're saying that the market in the US would be big because you're a combination of blockchain and AI. Raising money is easier for you possibly, and even the clientele there would want this, right?
That's a large US market. So US is an economy which is 8 times India, but the securitization market is 100 times India. So that is how disproportionately bigger a securitization market is.
How big is it actually?
A couple of $1 trillion. It obviously depends on what assets you include.
Securitization is a couple of $1 trillion?
Couple of $1 trillion,
wow. Yeah. And India is probably 25 billion.
25 billion. Yeah, means it's growing at 40, 50, 60%. But yeah.
So with the combination of blockchain AI, you're saying transparency on one end and efficiency on the other.
Absolutely.
And you speak to Indian banks about this. So what do they say about it?
They are very interested. It's just that it's still a cumbersome technology all said and done. So blockchain is not something that
isn't the radar.
It's not buying something on Amazon that it's already there, some SaaS product. So you will have to go through a bit of pain. But we are working with a couple of very established financial institutions in India. So there is an interest.
When you raise money for this project, it was just on what, a few lines of code maybe, or
no
just
code at all. It's just on this conversation that I'm having with you.
It happened like that?
Yeah.
And who were the investors?
Hammond Private Equity was the first entity to back. At that time, I was still in my job.
Did you consciously take it to them, or did they raise it with you? Or
no, through a common friend, I happened to meet them. We had a meeting in Hong Kong. I was on a business trip in London. Just happened to coincide with their chairman's visit.
So it's a real pain problem there. Huh? This securitization issue.
It is. If you can solve securitization, as I said, if you can solve securitization issue in India and reduce the risk, you will substantially solve the liquidity crisis and the capital problem in NBFCs as well.
It's interesting, right? You're on a hyperledger fabric. Yet you were telling me that when you go to these blockchain conferences, they say you're not really blockchain. I think it is blockchain. It's transparency.
I want to believe.
Right?
Yeah, see, obviously, for people whose philosophy is
crypto.
kind of based on Bitcoin, and that is a philosophy, right? That there should be no central bank, no government, nothing. I should be able to trade on my own. I come from financial services operations, so I've learned to live with regulators and intermediaries.
Exactly, but you're still decentralized. You're not centralized. Right?
No,
do you want to explain to them what centralized and decentralized is in the blockchain world?
Yeah. So, for example, a transaction happens in our case, which is a loan getting sold, etc. There is no owner of information. So, for example, in normal world, what would happen is that you are the person who's collecting money for all the loans. I am the investor. At the end of the month, you will send me a report. Then I'll say, but this report is wrong and reconcile, etc. Because I have my version of truth, which is my database.
Yes.
You have your version of truth, which is your database. And then an auditor comes who will ask me for samples and who will ask your samples, your auditor.
And try to match
and check, etc.
And the lawyers get involved.
Yeah. On a blockchain, anybody who's a node on the blockchain has exactly the same view of the information. Nobody can tamper. I cannot change my database independent of yours, etc. So it is a common view of the world, which eliminates all reconciliation requirement. Reporting is automated. Smart contracts can be executed because now I don't need to go and tell you that can you please check that your NPAs have crossed 5%.
Yes.
Because I am seeing the same thing happening as you are seeing. So, yeah.
And it's mostly, correct me if I'm wrong, would the data be available on a mobile dashboard? Or would it be
any? So that is an app, you can create anything out of it.
I want to know where would these, if you become an app, would it be a decentralized app or a decentralized app store, or would it be continue on a Google Play Store, or where would it be available?
See, we obviously will not be a Google Play Store thing because we are very much an enterprise software firm. But the whole idea is that the data is decentralized. For example, currently we are working with a data visualization service provider. So we will plug and play with whatever data to a node is available. But on the blockchain, we will follow kind of the structure and the governance of the blockchain.
Interesting. Why choose Hyperledger? There's so many other fabrics out there.
So we went through a lot of deliberation. And I wouldn't want to kind of diss against anybody, but Hyperledger Fabric A is open source. Owned by Linux Foundation, so we know that there is kind of global institutional backing. Was created by IBM, which continues to work on it. And lastly, it is the best balance between public blockchains like Ethereum, etc., and pure DLTs like R3 Corda. That said, we are also developing a version of our product on Quorum, which is based on Ethereum, because we just want to ensure that even within the Ethereum enterprise system, we are available on one product.
Okay. And you're saying you can bring tokens in the future if you want.
We would launch tokens by the last quarter of this year.
Interesting. And you're saying you will not go to the crypto world, but tokens would be easier. As a rewards mechanism, tokens as a rewards mechanism, or tokens as a function of tracking?
Token as a function of transacting.
Yes.
It is the institutions who are on our blockchain for them to figure out if they want to do something further. In the Hyperledger conference next month in Tokyo, we are presenting a paper on taking token value from an enterprise, putting it on a public blockchain. We will not do.
They'll
if
do
somebody wants to use our concepts, ideas, etc.
Oh, so you're open sourcing this yourselves further?
That technology, yeah. So that's like an R&D effort we are doing. We are presenting it at a conference.
Okay.
And
And you won a competition recently at United
on the
Nations.
AI side, yeah. So our AI lab was strong enough, and we said that they should not feel like they are an internal department feeding into our blockchain. So we just gave them the freedom. We may actually separate, means let it be an independent entity as well. So we won a contest for digitization of banking operations using AI only in the Pacific countries. So,
Okay. And you won about $80,000 there.
Yeah, so it's like award money plus contracts, etc. Yeah.
Okay. Have you disclosed how much you've raised so far?
Yes, we raised $2 million virtually at founding.
Okay.
And now we will decide whether we want to raise money as a combined entity or we would raise money for our AI and blockchain entities.
Okay. Siddharth, would you focus on Asia or America again?
Our
next 2 years,
blockchain business would be US and India. The independent AI automation offering which we have taken to market separate from our blockchain, that will be very Asia focused.
Fantastic. Fantastic. You know, you're also a fan of politics and cricket.
Yes.
You know, you're a technology guy, but you like politics and cricket. And not as a hobby, but seriously, right?
Seriously.
Tell us a little bit about the political side of you. How do you track it? You said a couple of apps help you track the US primaries. Why do you do that? You live in India, right?
Yeah.
But why do you want to know about world politics?
I've lived many years in Europe, but now I lived in the US. But yeah.
Obviously, you would travel there, obviously.
Travel regularly, yeah. Politics is just fascinating for me. Means even in the Indian elections, by this time I would have, out of 542 seats, for 200 seats I would have gone and seen individual seat data.
In India?
In India.
Is there an app for that also?
The election commission website is amazing. You can do all kinds of filters on
Really?
election. Incredible, yeah. And US, yeah, means I'm a regular politico.com, realclearpolitics.com, etc., etc. Yeah. So during election season, I would be updated with every single primary in the US for every single state Iowa.
You know, if your 20-year career 90, if you hadn't done that, would you have entered politics?
I think I would still enter in politics at some point in time.
Fantastic. That's very. I mean, we need people like you, especially. Where's the world heading in terms of economics? Huh? I mean, I don't know. Do you see blockchain entering politics?
Lot of blockchain has entered so many places where I don't think it makes sense. But it's very possible that I am not as imaginative as some of the entrepreneurs who have launched those ventures are, but I'm sure there is some blockchain venture in politics already.
You know, everyone's talking about EVM tampering, right? I mean, maybe blockchain can solve that. I'm just saying, you know. So there you go, guys. EVMs cannot be tampered. Okay. So you also like cricket, and you like cricket authors.
Oh yeah, I am a big time cricket reader.
Favorite authors?
Obviously, Neville Cardus, John Arlott for everybody. Back home in India, because I used to love the way Nirmal Shekhar used to write. Not always wrote cricket, but
in the Hindu, right? He wrote in the Hindu.
Yeah, just the poetry of that, because cricket ebbs and flows, so you can actually write great cricket literature, which is difficult. Cricket means Test cricket. You can't write IPL literature.
You can never do that, right? Who's your favorite cricketer?
My generation actually, which is that whole Tendulkar.
Then I'm your generation too.
Yeah, Tendulkar, Kumble, Lakshman, Ganguly. As Harsha Bhogle once said, that it really happens that a generation of world beaters are ideal human beings to emulate. And those 5-6 guys were that. It's just incredible.
In fact, they changed the whole way India approached cricket, right? It was always dependent on one person, maybe Kapil Dev before that, or the early Tendulkar.
Tough guys, great competitors, but absolutely well behaved.
No? Yeah. Very well behaved, right? All of them. I'd agree, they're perfect gentlemen. And you yourself, 20 years working for somebody else and becoming an entrepreneur, I want to know what inspired you?
Yes, I was at a stage where I was managing 14,000 people. And it does get to you.
14,000 people.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And it does get to you. So that's why, for example, we are an exclusive blockchain and AI shop. Means even any additional line of coding, we subcontract. And people ask us, oh, but you could have done it in-house. And I said that I hate adding people. We are 40 and we are too big. Because I have, as I said, I've managed 14,000 people, so I just kind of it gets.
So are you hiring anybody? No.
We on the AI side, we continue to hire any great AI guys. Do join us.
Put
And
your
blockchain-
email ID. I'd love your ID though here. What's your email ID that they can write to, or is there a company ID that they can write to?
hr@intainft.com.
Okay.
Yeah, so on
Blockchain and
blockchain
AI.
side, we are fairly well staffed. We have a 24, 25 people team. But AI, we continue to hire. Computer vision, natural language processing, data sciences, anything.
So guys, if you really want to solve real world problems, securitization is what makes your life. You won't know it, but you might have just borrowed from a bank. Maybe it's securitized somewhere.
Yeah.
So guys, you really have fun working in this company, and you've been amazing. And I'm going to pick your brains in the future also on all the cricket books and the politics.
Absolutely.
Thank you for being on the show.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye guys. I'll see you in a bit. Bye.
Thank
you. It was wonderful.